Welcome everyone to the Eye for an Eye channel. I have to talk about the digital ID. Most of us believe the digital ID is tied into the mark of the beast. You will not be able to buy or sell without having the mark of the beast. And we know you will not be able to buy or sell without having this digital ID. And once again, we have these people who are unelected meeting out in the open now, telling you how they are going to dictate your lives. And if you don't get on board, you're going to be left in the dust. And of course, they use all types of manipulative tactics like they always do to talk about how this has to do with exclusion. As if, cash is an exclusion. People can't have cash if they're a certain race, or if they can't have cash if they're a certain gender. They pretend like people aren't included in this current system of cash money because they want people to all get in on cashless society where the government has full control over everything you do 24/7, and anything you say will, of course, be doxed out of your bank account. Also, something to keep in mind as I show you some of these clips where the EU chief is saying that the future will be digital and those who don't accept it will be excluded. Keep in mind the fact that you're not going to be able to save money anymore. There's going to be an expiration date on all of our money, which means, I used to work to save money. They just want you to waste and spend your money on pointless, useless things like we see a lot of these adult baby men out there do, right? They buy toys from when they were kids. They spend their money on all these useless, pointless things. And when crap hits the fan in the next couple of months/years that we all know is going to happen, these people are going to be left with, Sonic the Hedgehog and, Ghostbuster toys sitting around their home. They're going to be unprepared, unarmed, and, with no food whatsoever. They think they're going to come to your door and get your food, even though these are the same people who have been trying to silence all of us and stop us from, making people aware of what the government is and was and still is trying to do. So let's take a look at some of this stuff from the EU chief who is talking about, and all these people at the G20 are talking about how we're going to go digital. Anybody out there who thought they were getting away by using crypto, which of course was put in place. Crypto is tied into the digital ID. Blockchain is a part of crypto. Blockchain is full control. A lot of these people think they're free of the Federal Reserve. These people have obviously planned this because the structure is going to look a lot like the way cryptocurrency and blockchain has worked, but they're going to make sure they could regulate crypto. They're talking about that as well, which is obviously something that we all knew was coming. But a lot of these people felt like they were rebelling against the system and they were going to be free of the New World Order by going into crypto. They were just playing right into their plans. But take a listen here at a bunch of these clips from the G20 summit where your world leaders are plotting against all of us.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, perhaps the most prominent advocate of that dreaded passport, was out there advocating that we all have to have digital IDs because the future will be digital. You shouldn't have privacy, apparently. Yeah, that's what she believes. She claims that the IDs can be a real booster to emerging economies. The trick is to build public digital infrastructure, she said, that is interoperable, open to all, and trusted. Joining me now to explain just how dangerous this is, Nigel Farage, former Brexit Party leader. Nigel, this is about global government control and a way to, what, redistribute the wealth away from the so-called wealthy nations to everybody else?
Well, it's about control, isn't it? I mean, this is the most glaring example we've ever seen from a prominent world leader. Von der Leyen is the president of the European Commission, 450 million people living within that union. Oh, and by the way, she's unelected, she's appointed, and here she is brazenly saying we need a digital ID card or app on our phones. Now, bear in mind, France and Germany are trialing this already. The European Union, she wants this to be enforced by the early 2030s and, may I add, backed up by a central bank digital currency, living in a cashless society. And now she wants the whole thing to go global. Can you imagine? On this ID card will be not just your date of birth, your gender, your eye color, your height, your approximate weight. There will be your vaccine status, your financial status, and goodness knows what else will be on that card.
Building blocks for a globally coordinated and comprehensive policy and regulatory framework for crypto assets. The global push for clearer policies on crypto assets has gained momentum under the Indian presidency, and a global consensus is emerging on the same. The presidency will support the IMF and the FSB, and FSB is also setting the contours of the regulatory framework for a globally coordinated approach to crypto assets. So the presidency, with the support of IMF and the FSB, is setting these contours. The IMF and FSB synthesis paper, about which I've spoken to the media earlier, including a roadmap. On that, I just want to give my observation. This synthesis paper delves into how the policy and regulatory frameworks developed by the IMF and the FSB, alongside the other standard-setting bodies, will fit together and interact with each other. This paper is now available in the public domain for all of you all. Third one, which I'd like to draw your attention to, is the financial inclusion and productivity gains through digital public infrastructure. India, as you all are aware, through the India Stack, became the first country to develop all three foundational DPIs: the digital identity, the real-time fast payment, and a platform to safely share personal data without compromising privacy. So embedded this concept in the G20 financial inclusion agenda by formulating G20 policy recommendations for advancing financial inclusion.
So European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, Ursula, of course, what a wonderful name for such a beautiful demon, warned people who refuse to accept the WEF's new digital ID scheme will be excluded from participating in society during an appearance at the G20 summit dubbed One Future. And again, there's that word one, which I've covered over the years, right? Nobody thinks about how they've been conditioned with the term and the word one. All these songs about one, all these lyrics that are famous like John Lennon, the world will live as one. All these songs, there's thousands of songs, U2 One, all using this stuff. And it's like nobody uses their brain and realizes what they're actually talking about. They're like, I'm going to become one with my girlfriend. We're going to be living in harmony together. Yay. They're not talking about your girlfriend. They're not talking about your wife, your husband, your boyfriend. They're talking about Satan when they're talking about love in all these songs. And the one thing they're talking about is the one world government, which is all run under Satan. So not only are we looking at a world where everything will be digital, the digital ID, of course, this does tie in with the magic potion. A lot of people think that the magic potion itself is indeed that. That is, I don't believe that that is true. Of course, we know that they're tied together. We know not to take it, okay? But the digital ID is going to have that status on there, and you will not be able to have or participate in society without it because they coincide with one another. Again, you're going to be hooked up to the Internet of Bodies. They have to get it inside of you one way or the other. And important, to have a bank account and do all these things, you're going to have this status approved, and you're going to have this specific thing inside of you. I also love this clip that was also done by this demon talking about, and this is at the this is State of the Union 2023 is how they air this, but talking about misinformation. Again, talking about how great the internet is and how great it is to connect everybody. Because again, I've talked about this so many times. There's a pros and cons to everything, right? There's pros and cons to their own weapons that they're using against us, including the internet, including the information flow, including how they're, the mental health that people are having from being obsessed with technology. But they knew when they did this with the internet that there was going to be issues with people like me and you who were way smarter than they ever thought people could be at this point because they assumed everybody was dumbed down. And it's not working to their full effect because they know a lot of people are actually using the internet to wake up, right? It used to be you'd have to go to certain places, churches, etc., to get this kind of information. It'd be very hard to find like any of these guys who were out there speaking in the 80s and 90s about this stuff anywhere out in the open, is there was no internet. Now people can look this stuff up for themselves, and they're doing everything they can to obviously prevent that. They're doing everything that they possibly can to make sure any voice that is exposing what their devious plans are gets silenced, and they label it as misinformation. And the suckers out there just agree with these people, not realizing these people are enslaving them and stripping all of us of our rights. And when they talk about equality, they talk about all of us living in poverty and all of them living with the riches and resources of the earth. But listen to this demon talk about, again, fighting misinformation, because if people realize what they're doing, everybody would unite as quote unquote one to stop these demons.
Member states have used that investment to digitize the healthcare system, justice system, transport network, and at the same time, Europe has led on managing the risks of the digital world. The internet was born as an instrument for sharing knowledge, opening minds, and connecting people. It still is. But it has also given rise to serious challenges: disinformation, spread of harmful content, risk to the privacy of our data. All of this led to a lack of trust and sometimes a breach of fundamental rights of people. In response, Europe has become the global pioneer of citizens' rights in the digital world. The DSA and DMA are creating a safer digital space where fundamental rights are protected. And they are ensuring fairness and clear responsibility for big tech. This is an historic achievement, and I think we should be proud of it.
So that's how hell-bent they are on stopping information spread. It's amazing that people have gone away from the thought process of saying, well, if it's something I don't agree with, I'll just shut it off. If it's something I'll just, somebody can have a difference of opinion. If I don't agree with it, I'll research more and I'll see if there's other information, et cetera, et cetera. It's because they know that everything that people like me and you are saying is 100% truth. Everything they're doing is so obvious to see. We've all called it before it's even happened. And still there's people that think we're conspiracy nut jobs because they're so narcissistic, so prideful, and so indoctrinated by these. I don't know what they see in these people that they actually believe. Like, do you not see these people and just immediately your brain just go, what a demon? You could just sense what demons these things are. But yet we live amongst people who love them. They're like, oh yeah, everything they say is accurate and truthful. And now we have these people who are telling us that you're going to have a digital ID in the future. And again, as the next outbreak rolls out, which is here right now, as all this stuff goes down, everyone's like, oh, that stuff went away. It was going away. What have people like me been saying for the last couple of years? It's not going anywhere until everyone's enslaved. Okay, now it's back, and those people are just like, oh, it's not as bad as it's not going to be. And they're desensitized. They're going to keep doing it. And now it's going to be worse than the last wave. Why? Because there's going to be quarantine. There's all these laws in place now where they can quarantine you. And I'll talk about that more on the website, uprisingrevival.com, where you guys need to join if you haven't yet, because there's going to be a huge, huge, huge run on truthers again right now in September and October with all the stuff going on with the outbreak. Okay, we have already read a lot of the documents that have been passed that the WHO have put out there about how anybody who even talks about the WHO is going to be taken down. Even if they think you're agreeing, but you're not agreeing full-heartedly, you're questioning a few things in there. Nope, you're going to be gone and wiped off the internet. So the website, at least, will be a safe place. You'll be wiped off social media, at least for the most part, because they know you could reach people and share things with people. Eventually, they'll take care of all internet websites as well. But for the time being, Uprising Revival is safe, and I highly recommend people join, especially if you want updates on what's going on with the Magic Potion. So back to this stuff. The EU chief also stressed globally accepted standards must be created under the guidance of the United Nations, similar to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Von der Leyen said at the global level, the EU will eventually need to reach the broader community of the United Nations. We would need a similar body to the IPCC for climate, and here we need additional outreach to the scientists, entrepreneurs, and innovators. They need to provide the knowledge on the risks posed by AI, as well as the potential benefits for humanity. So the only risk to them is actually truth, right? Any truthful information out there, waking people up to what they're actually doing. Now, they might have the military protecting them. They might have the resources and the money to protect themselves. Of course, they're all armed, but we have the numbers. So they have to keep everybody divided. That's why they constantly, again, we all know this, are putting this nonsensical nonsense out on the news every day to get people riled up and stay divided in their politics, instead of uniting as humans against these monsters who are doing this to us. You think it would be enough for people to see how these people actually live as opposed to how they tell us to live, right? Oh, everybody needs to mask up. None of them do, right? Everybody needs to watch their carbon footprint while they're flying around in private jets, even so much so that they're actually not even just flying around in private jets where they're like, oh, well, they can't fly commercial, so what are they going to do? Oh, okay, you want to take that out of the equation? Why is it that every one of these people still is in a gas-powered car when they're telling us they're going to ban gas-powered vehicles by 2030? I mean, they don't even need to show us. That's how unreal this has gotten. They don't even need to pretend to be living by these rules that they're setting. You would think they would pretend, right? That they go out there and be like, okay, well, there's going to be a photo op, so drive an electric vehicle. And, no, Biden's driving around in his Corvettes and all this other stuff. It's unbelievable how stupid these people are. And again, when your life is so distracted with nonsense around the clock, and when you start becoming a narcissist, you don't think about anything but yourself. And you actually put faith and believe in Big Brother, and the things that you think are problems in your life right now are not problems compared to what's coming. People are worried about, my girlfriend said this, or I don't like how my hair looks. I wish I could afford this dress, or I wish I could afford this suit. I wish this, I wish. All these things are just wastes of time, and they know that. That's why they constantly are pumping this into people's heads to care about material goods, to care about, so-and-so doesn't think so-and-so should have rights. And they just make up the news as they go, and people are just so offended and affected by it. And while they're distracted, these things are continuing to happen, and the next thing you know, everything's going to be gone. So the digital ID, again, ties into the mark of the beast. Anyone out there who doesn't believe it does, that's fine. You can have a difference of opinion. I'm not somebody, I've read everything. I know all of the ideas, and people still comment as if I don't know, but that's fine. About Sunday law. I do not believe Sunday law has anything to do with it. We all should know that technology and the mark of the beast and being inside of your body is going to be how the mark of the beast works with transhumanism, okay? Connecting machine and human, because you're not going to be human anymore when you take the mark. Once you mix iron and clay, you're no longer human. That means you no longer belong to God, okay? You belong to this earth. The God is the God of this earth, the one that they worship, Satan. You're mixing your DNA. That's why they're so hell-bent on your genetic code. So the digital ID ties into that because everything will be on there. And again, they'll use false things like bank accounts are being nuked. Russia's doing this. We got to all get a digital ID. It's fully protected. It'll be inside your body. Nobody can steal your identity. They've conditioned people over and over again over the last 20 plus years about cyber attacks, identity theft, right? Every time you put the radio on, there's a commercial. Get your Norton identity theft. Don't get your identity stolen online. Oh, here's a fake story. Oh, my identity was stolen online by so-and-so, and I lost everything. I need to get a mark of the beast. Those are the types of things that they're going to constantly push, the type of fear they're going to push. So the digital ID, again, there'll be stories about people. Again, this will be another thing I'll be talking about on the website. There's going to be more stories about people who are faking getting a you-know-what. Oh, they're claiming they got it. Oh, they're using paper ones telling people that they got it when they don't, so they're making other people sick. Oh, they should be thrown in jail. Oh, well, the only way to stop it is if we have something digital. They won't be able to fake it once it's inside you. First, it'll start on your phone like everything else, but eventually it'll all be in you with a digital passport. A digital passport will start on your phone, and it'll be inside your body eventually because they'll talk about people who are hacking it, stealing it, manipulating the system. And once the mark is implemented inside people's bodies, there's no manipulating unless you have the mark or not. I mean, I'll be trying to think of ways to get around it if I'm still here. But, this is what we're living amongst now while people are distracted by all this nonsense. And I don't understand how people don't see its prophecy in front of us. All the things that are in prophecy are happening right in front of us. Look how just even the most basic things in the Bible, like how people are growing cold. People can't stand one another because they've created a narcissistic society. Nobody cares about anybody. They literally only care about you if you're based on your political affiliation. Nobody cares about anything going on other than these stupid issues that people are talking about. They've weakened everybody down. They've dumbed down women. They've made men so weak. It's pathetic and embarrassing to even say you're a man anymore. And this is what we're living amongst. While they're out there telling us, hey, you know what? We're going to leave people behind. We weren't elected or anything like that, but we're going to leave people in the dust who don't decide to take the mark of the beast. I mean, the digital ID. We're going to leave you in the dust. You're not going to be able to buy or sell or eat or do any of this stuff because we say so. And you just go, what do you mean we say so? You work for us. All these people are supposed to, wait a minute, you don't even work for us. Nobody elected you. Who put you in these positions? Who gave who the power? Oh, all of this stuff has been happening. All of these people have been empowered while everybody's been distracted about whether or not men can have babies and literally arguing about it in Congress. The Republicans are just as guilty as the Democrats because they know what they're doing. Otherwise, these Republicans would stop it. If I was in Congress and I was a Republican, you think I would just be sitting there on the Senate floor talking? I would make sure that this stuff was stopped if it was actually legit and real. They're all just actors playing their role. They're like, can you believe this? We're going to impeach Biden today. Hey, look over here. We're impeaching Biden. Oh, you are? For the fourth year in a row? Or whatever it's been? Oh, okay. I'm going to continue to listen to this stuff, hoping we're going to impeach Biden. It's all going to stop. We're going to impeach Biden. It's going to stop. It's not going to stop until they're stopped. The only way to stop them is to stop both political parties. The only way to stop them is to stop these globalists from meeting at Davos, from meeting at the G20, from meeting at Bohemian Grove, from meeting at the Bilderberg meetings. right? All the summits and all the meetings that they have where they're dictating our future to destroy and disable the United Nations. These are all global entities that are doing everything they can to strip us of rights, our lives, and to get us to take the mark of the beast. That is truth. Nobody wants to hear it, but that is truth. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know that my other channel, Uprising Revival, is linked below. I'm uploading content. If you didn't see a lot of content in the last month, week, days before that other channel of a different YouTuber, of course, was demonetized and taken out of the YouTube Partner Program, those videos are going up over there. That channel is being left blank as a blank slate. That way I can use that channel to get people over to other channels. That's what's going on. That's the way that I'm doing this now. So make sure you subscribe to Uprising Revival. There's going to be new content over there as well. I highly recommend you do it. The same thing's going to happen to this channel very, very soon. And again, I highly recommend you join the website, uprisingrevival.com. Exclusive content. The forum itself is worth it over there. Please join if you haven't yet. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless all of you, as always, and your families.